Welcome, everybody. We've got another special episode, audience question coming in. That's right. You want to know this. We get this all the time. So I thought it was time that we addressed it. And the question is, how do you position yourself with a client that you're already working with in a backwards capacity to forwards looking? That's a great question. So tune in to the latest episode of A Look into the Future with the time traveler himself, Paul Latham of Hay and Rock Solutions on Evolve Now.
It's actually a great question, and it's one that I get pretty much every day of the week when I'm talking to accountants. And if I start by going right back in time, alluding to your time traveling, the way we did it at Latham's, we actually did concentrate, first of all, on new clients. We concentrated on positioning new clients to get the great service, mainly because at the time we didn't know what we were doing, concentrated on them, realized after about 6 or 9 months, we were actually doing way better, much better service with new clients than with existing ones. So we actually came up with a sort of internal message to our existing clients was, do you know what? If you'd have joined us 5 years ago, today you're getting a worse service than if you joined us 5 weeks ago. And what we've realized is we're providing a second-class service really to our existing clients. And what we've decided to do, and this was the magic line, what we decided to do is treat you like a new client. Why don't you give us the opportunity? Just spend an hour with you, treat you like a new client. And that, by the way, Garrett, that's how we did it back in the 1990s. But the truth is, these days, when we talk to accountants, we really suggest they start with their existing clients, because of course it's easier. Those clients know them and they trust them already. So the whole sort of point is then, how do we reposition them? So what I'm going to show you, Garrett, if you like, is I'm going to show you what I call a standard presentation that we train accountants to go through, which specifically answers that question. And obviously, in reality, people can tailor this, but this is the standard presentation. So, it's what we call a presentation about proactive planning and the virtual family office experience. And obviously, it's XYZ accountant talking to a client, and we go through an agenda. And one of my big messages is, by the way, is be honest and be transparent. So we'll go through an agenda and say, what we're going to talk to you about is changing our focus. Exactly your question, Garrett. We're going to talk about changing our focus and shifting to a more proactive approach. We'll take you through our value proposition and what that will mean for you. And then we'll get into a bit more detail, the planning process, and in summary, and then maybe some options and next steps. But let's really focus on 1 and 2 in particular here. So sort of messages, we are changing our focus. I don't think I'd be trying to hide this if you're talking to your existing clients. And we have a script for this, but it's sort of along the lines of, when I became an accountant, I didn't really mean sort of consciously to become a backward-looking accountant. But that's what I've become. And I spend all my time looking backwards and all my time being reactive. And I've thought long and hard about this. And we've decided to reposition ourselves. And we're going to be increasingly now looking forwards and shifting away from that backward-looking, compliance-driven focus. And we're going to be looking forwards, personal planning, business strategy, advanced tax, and so on. And we've consciously decided we want to be proactive instead of reactive and give you a really comprehensive service. And ultimately, what we're doing is what we think our clients want. Our best clients want a bit more than we've been giving them. So let's talk about what this means to you and our value proposition. And sort of reiterating in a way, there was an old model, and the old model was, there's you on the right-hand side, the client, and there's me, the accountant. And if you asked for introductions and referrals, of course, we could provide them reactively. Truth was, as it says at the bottom of the screen, you didn't ask very often, referrals rarely happened. And from our point of view, it was really bad because we had no quality control over who we were referring to. We sort of lost control and we weren't at the center of your universe. So we've decided as a firm, as a business, to do things a bit differently. And basically, our new model is what we're trying to do is really help you plan together with you and the client, address your biggest problems, help you meet your goals, whether that's personal or professional. So here's you, our client, on the left of the screen. Here's me, accountant, maybe with an advisor with me. And we're what we call your proactive planning team. And then if you need it, behind us is what we call the virtual family office experience. If you need tax planning expertise or insurance or wealth management or legal or business advisory that I can't personally give you, then we can make sure you get the best possible advice. And really what we see as our job at XYZ now is to really help you, the client, maximize your potential, whether that's personal financial potential or business potential. We're going to help you maximize your potential. And my job is to become your most relevant advisor, not just trusted, but your most relevant advisor. You get basically your go-to guy. If you have a problem, come to us and let's see whether we can't help you. And what we then do is we combine that proactive approach with a process. And as it goes across from left to right there, it starts with discovery and diagnostic, because if we don't understand your problems, we really can't help you. We can then begin to clarify your direction and your vision. We can work to build plans. If we can't solve the problem in this room, we'll give you access to virtual expertise. And basically, we'll help you take action and implement the solutions you need. And we sustain that through regular meetings, because you can't be proactive once a year. It's, let's meet up regularly. And my job is to hold your hand through the planning journey. So that's sort of how we're different, but some things never change. What you won't see changing is our commitment to you. We're still going to have a commitment to excellence. It's going to be underpinned by the same old values and ethics that you know and love about us. Integrity, honesty, hard work on your behalf. Are you interested in getting to know a bit more about how we do that? And I don't really need to go into all that. I don't think I need to go into the rest of the presentation, Garrett, but there's a presentation that I'll just flick through it. You know, it's sort of beginning to talk about a process. We call it MAP, and it takes them through the detail. And it's sort of really here separating. 1 to 4 is proactive advice. Step 5 is where we start to implement solutions. Obviously, we keep on reviewing that. It's an ongoing process through the year and annually. And ultimately, what we're really doing is we're giving you a benefit. By offering this service, we're maximizing your potential, giving you a go-to advisor. We're giving you forward-looking advice, proactive advice, and value-added solutions. We're giving you direction and guidance, and we're giving you access to a best-of-breed virtual family office. Any questions? And then we go into a bit more detail, if assuming that we have different levels of service based on the question. How proactive do you want me to be? Minimum proactive, maximum proactive, typically proactive. And obviously I've done that really quick, but I think the key thing about that question is you answer it honestly. We are making a change, but it's for your benefit. But the other thing I think is, remember, we've talked a lot about having standard words and sort of making the intangible tangible. So a lot of that presentation is about giving the accountant a script and a confidence to say this stuff and having tangible stuff to back it up with. So here's the diagnostic, it's a CIQ, and here's how we do this, the mapping process, and there's the virtual family office. These are not sort of ephemeral things. They're actual tools that we use. And so it's a combination, I think, of transparency and honesty combined with making those sort of ephemeral subjects feel a bit more real to the client.
Yeah, and Paul, I can say firsthand, we do that as our firm. We talk to firms about the same thing. And it is that, like, having that process and that true, like, script that takes that pressure off. And we've talked about before. That's why the first time you do it, start with one of your clients that's your closest friend and best client, where you can kind of like, it's okay that you literally have the script in front of you reading it.
Yeah.
And let them see how it goes. Don't feel like you've got to get it perfect the first time.
And one of the benefits of a PowerPoint, I mean, you could sort of tell there probably that I'd seen that presentation before, because I sort of knew what the next slide was. And one of the reasons for the transition is it allows you to maybe just have a little bit of you're almost leading into it. And remember, you see, if you're talking to a client like this face to face, obviously they're going to tell if you're reading a script. But if you're, even in a Zoom meeting like I've just demonstrated, if you've got a PowerPoint, you've sort of got the script in front of you, but because it's a PowerPoint, it's allowed. It's not like you're reading your notes under the table because you're cheating in your exam at school. I mean, this is, you're just giving yourself a structure to the conversation.
And that's what's so important. Don't feel like you got to make it up each time, but that's how you do it. How do you position yourself from backwards looking to forward looking?
Yeah.
Plan, vision, desire. We were just talking about that, Paul, before we went on air.
Yeah.
There's that plan of how you do it, what you're going to say, how you show that you still provide value in the past, but there's a new way going forward.
Yep. And obviously, at the end of the day, by the way, it does not matter if they don't choose it. I mean, all you're doing is you're giving them the opportunity. And so, like at Latham's, I can't remember the exact number, but it was something like 6 or 7 out of 10 upgraded their service. 3 or 4 out of 10 didn't. By the way, they became our C clients, and they were the ones we kicked out progressively over the next 4 or 5 years. Because as we got more and more A clients and B clients, the ones who didn't want this service, well, good luck to you. We don't want to work with you so much. But it allowed us, in a way, it was self-selection. Those clients self-selected to be the ones we wanted them to be.
And sometimes with Paul, that's an important lesson. We went through this ourselves at the firm recently of, we had a client that we really wanted them to be an A client, but they didn't want to be an A client. And they're no longer a client because they didn't want to have any proactive services, anything like that. They want to be completely reactive. Another way.
And I mean, by the way, that doesn't mean you have to kick them out the day after tomorrow. It just means that they're sort of on your list as to those that over time will become dispensable.
There were some other issues here that drove that, but that was the first one of, they just didn't want to be proactive no matter how much we tried. And we had to recognize that fact of, we couldn't chase them forever. We had other clients that did, and great. Those 6 clients that are raising their hands say, yes, I want to be proactive. I want vision workshop. I want strategic planning. I want to meet with you monthly.
Yeah. They have an advantage. But go back to the question. And really, what you're not doing is shying away from that point. I think you're basically tackling that point. And I think all you're trying to demonstrate in different words to the ones I used at Latham's are, what we're trying to do is treat you like a first-class customer. Do you want to be treated like a first-class customer? Because we can give you a better service. Let's give you the opportunity to experience it. Would you like to try it? Would you just like, if you went all the way on, by the way, in that presentation, I think the last slide was, would you like to dip your toe in the water? Let's just do a CIQ, see what opportunities come out of it. Would you like to dip your toe in the water before you make your mind up?
Great. And that's great. Paul, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. There's some great advice on how you can position yourself to become forward-looking, most importantly, the most relevant advisor to your clients.